Hello, everybody. This is Justin, the artist of WorldBreakers, coming to you with episode 3 of WorkTime with Justin. This lines up with episode 29 of WorldBreakers. Gosh, 29. That's crazy. I told you I'd make a big deal out of it every time. We're almost at 30. Goodness gracious. So, what do we got? A number of things to talk about today. Some exciting, some less than exciting. On the exciting end is you get to catch a bit of the shading process for the comic today. I did indeed forget to start recording while I was drawing once again. Sorry about that. But that's okay because now I can kind of focus on talking a bit. I love shading. I think it's like one of my favorite parts of working on the comic, besides reading it when it's done, because I'm like bringing life to the comic. There's way more fluidity to this. It's not as, I don't have to be as right on the money as I do like when I'm drawing, and it's a lot more interesting than just doing like the flats, which are just, it's basically like coloring in a coloring book, which is okay. If you like coloring books, that's fine. They're okay. My girlfriend and I have done some adult coloring books lately. Not adult like ooh, but you know, they're not like Power Rangers coloring books. Though that would be fun. I think I would actually do that. Anyhow, I'm getting a little off topic. It's shading. It's a good time. You might have seen in the first break time episode that we've done, I kind of showed my process a bit, and you could see then the way I have things set up. So I've got a shading layer here, which is just set to multiply. I've got my two special tones. I've got my light tone, and then my dark tone. And I just sort of go for it on the multiply level. It's a lot easier than how I used to color in shade, where I go the long way of picking each particular color for each darker tone and each lighter tone. And goodness gracious, I can't believe I made comics that way for so long, because it takes forever to do that. It's crazy. There's no way I'd be able to do this comic with any colors whatsoever if that's how I was still doing it. So hooray for change. This is something that I know other artists do. I just don't know why it took me so long to get here. Quick aside, chains. Why did I design a character with chains everywhere on his body? I actually cut out some of the chains from his initial design because these things are just a pain. Anybody out there considering working on comics, do everything you can to not involve chains in them. They're such a pain. And, you know, huge props to any comic artist that uses them willingly in their work. You crazy, but I respect it. I respect craziness. So yeah, we're doing some shading. What I always like to do is I'll start with with a larger size brush, my special marker brush, that sort of makes it look like I'm using actual markers, sort of, I hope. I'll start with a larger size with the lighter of the two shading tones, and opposite that is always white because it's a multiply layer, so the white kind of works like an eraser, but instead of just being a flat erase with that ugly sharp line, it's more in the style of the marker itself. So I'll do that, get some nice general shading going in for sort of like the directional shading. In this case, it's coming from over here, I've decided. And blah, blah, blah. Get that down. Then I'll go in with the darker. I know I skipped stuff. I just want to get to the point real quick. I'll go to my darker tone, get the brush a lot smaller so I can do the more detailed things like wrinkles in clothing. For metallic objects, that little like darker line that always rests just a little bit away from the actual edge of the object. Okay, there's no way I'm doing this for all the chains. You crazy. You crazy. And let's see, hair. The darker one I'll use to make things look like they're actually hair. Easy peasy. Ooh, maybe not right there. And yeah, that's it. That's shading. It's a lot of fun for me, as I've said. And there you go. So let's see, what's next on our agenda today? This is exciting. This is a cool thing. For my whole life, which has been pretty long because I'm pretty old, I'm 28, gonna be 29 this summer. Blech, blech, so old. I don't like it. I've always had glasses. I mean, since I was in 5th grade. So I was 10 years old when I first got my first ever pair of glasses. I remember watching like Rugrats, if any of you know that old cartoon, and just thinking like, I can't really see unless I'm closer to the television, but that's going to get me in trouble because I'm not supposed to sit that close to the TV. And went in, got my first pair, and it's been glasses ever since. One thing I had never tried before were contact lenses, because I don't know, it just kind of never came up. Maybe I didn't like the idea of putting stuff in my eyes. But anyhow, so now at the age of 28, I got my first ever pair of contacts. And whoa! What a difference these little things have made. If you have ever made the switch from glasses to contacts, especially after a long period of time, then you'll know what I'm talking about when I say everything is huge. I had no idea, and especially since my prescription was so bad for my glasses, and I guess technically my contacts, it made everything really small. So I had no idea, like, it's a very surreal experience and kind of hard to describe, but everything in the world is bigger than I had known for basically my entire adult life, but since I had glasses for so long, it's all I'm really used to. So it's crazy that I put these contacts in and it doesn't skew the proportions of anything. And the world is so big. My favorite story I like to tell, this happened on my first date with them. I was going to cook tortellini for dinner, which, tortellini is so delicious. And I have a pot that I like to use. We've got a couple sets of pots, and for each set the pots look exactly the same, and I prefer to use the smallest pot of this one particular set. So I'm looking everywhere for it. I found the medium pot. I'm carrying it around, looking for the small one. Where the heck is the small pot? I'm hungry. Let's get on with this. And probably about a solid 2 or 3 minutes into my search, I looked down at the medium pot that I'd been carrying around and discovered that this was the small pot. I had it in my hand the whole time. That's ridiculous. I just thought it was the medium pot because I'm not used to the crazy size difference in going from glasses to not having glasses. It's pretty intense. But anyhow, so the contacts, they do make a big difference. They make it a little difficult to sort of focus on my computer monitor, just because I'm getting used to using my eyes in a different kind of way. It's really strange. So I'm retraining them kind of. And after 20 years, excuse me, after 20 years of wearing the glasses, the eyes, they just sort of get used to doing things a certain way. It's all muscle memory, really. So I'm retraining my eyes to focus in a different way without those lenses in front of them. So it's really crazy. But it has sort of affected my progress on the comic. What day is it? It's Thursday. So a couple of times it's shut me down completely because not being able to see either frustrated me or gave me a headache. So I'm running a little behind. I wanted to have this comic up tomorrow, but I'm not sure it's going to happen because of that. So sorry, but that's why. It's legit. I'm not like being lazy. It's just that I can't make my eyes do things like I'm used to. But it's a lot better. It's been a lot better as I've been going. I'm on day like 5, I think. And they're getting pretty used to it. It's especially easy once I get to just like all of the end work in the comic. So the hardest part is definitely just the initial base drawing, and it's really hard to explain, but I guess I'm keeping my eyes open longer to look at everything, and it just sort of, they get dry and my eyes lose focus. But as I figure this whole contact thing out, that'll go away. So no worries there. Don't panic. Nobody panic. Everything's gonna be okay. I was doing all of that shading on the wrong layer. Whoops. Let's see, back to business. What's going on in the comic? We have been introduced to the Chain Gang. Very, very dangerous criminals, as you can clearly tell. They're super on top of their stuff, and they really know what they're doing. Which is, I guess, they're after Milo and Robin. That's the job they're on, and it's apparently the job that's going to bring them the glory. The glory of criminalism. I don't know, making the dream, the criminal lifestyle dream come true for themselves finally. I'm not sure how long they've been in business. Maybe we'll learn, but hopefully they get a little better at it, because as it stands, they kind of stink. Or at least Richie kind of stinks as a boss. But thank goodness for him that he has such dedicated followers as Viper and Abe, that, you know, they love this guy. Everything he says and does is just great to them, except for when he gets so suddenly sidetracked. But I think they've figured out how to manage his tendencies in that way, so that's good. But yeah, these guys are ridiculous. I've been waiting for a long time. I don't know how much. Wait, the shading is backwards. I messed up, guys. I messed up. I gotta reverse the shading, because Richie is facing these two. Shading is on his left side, so the sun must be over here, which means the shading is gonna come down on them over here. I don't go nuts with the shading and light sources and stuff. I just try and keep things sort of like general in terms of the directions. But anyways, so yeah, if you remember, in the very first episode, there's sort of like a cover to this first phase of the comic, Dark Days, Deep Dreams. And if you go back and look, you can actually... Oh, text message, I'm popular. You'll see a very differently designed Robin standing next to Milo, and with these guys' silhouettes behind them. So these guys have been in the works for a good long time, waiting for their moment to finally shine and to bring home the glory. For the Chain Gang. But yeah, some of my original designs, these guys were, so it's fun to finally like get them in. And I knew the whole time too, sort of accidentally while sketching them out, came up with the idea, like their dynamic and how they work, with Richie being easily distracted, but then also easily bribed back into business with like a juice box. Just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you can't enjoy some of life's simpler pleasures, such as juice pails, juice boxes, as Richie's proved to us, at least this time. So, yeah, the Chain Gang, they're funny. I hope you enjoy them. We'll be seeing a bit more of them next week as we continue this, like, the hunt, I guess, as Richie described it. Don't really know what specifically their deal is in this whole thing. We just know that it's their job. They got a job, and it's to kidnap Milo and Robin. So I'm sure we'll find out more about that in the near future if Phil decides to write it in. If he doesn't, then I guess we're all out of luck. No, he's going to. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, we talked about shading, we talked about the context, we talked about this gang. We do have something a little less pleasant to talk about, I guess. Just briefly, I want to bare my soul to you guys a little bit. Pardon if it's too much information, or if you don't feel like talking about less than incredibly happy things all the time. Skip ahead a couple minutes. I'm sure I'm going to get back on track really soon. So, my home situation is pretty interesting. As I mentioned, I'm pretty old, going on 30. A few years back, I ended up having to step in and start taking care of my mother, who's disabled. She has multiple sclerosis, which is a neural disease where plaque builds up on your spine. It causes the different nerves that control like your muscles and even like some brain activity, and it just sort of mucks it all up. So my mom needs a lot of help. She basically needs help doing everything. She can like pull herself forward to take a sip from her cup, but there's got to be a straw in it, and I've got to get the drink ready. And also a lot of times I have to remind her like not to pick the cup up, because if she does that, her hands are kind of shaky, just makes a mess. Anyways, none of that's too relevant, but it's been a few years, and because of the amount of time it takes taking care of her and like the amount of in-home health care that's like available, I had to stop working in order to do that. And so I'm just like here. That's what I do. I'm here at home. I take care of my mom. A good thing about that is it's given me this opportunity to really focus on like my art and stuff. I'm mad at myself for not I didn't get started nearly as soon as I should have, but no regrets. I've gotten better in the time that I've had, so whatever. But what am I getting to? So it's really been nice having the extra time to focus on WorldBreakers and to sort of work around my tendency to procrastinate. I've been really bad about it since I was like a kid. So now I have time to put into the comic while also forgiving myself a little bit for all the time that I'm not working on the comic. I regret it. I regret every minute that I haven't spent on it. But what are you going to do? Now what's going on is, in this third year, my New Year's resolution and my promise to myself, my girlfriend of like, I don't know, many years, Jesus, my girlfriend Chrissy, we've been together since my like, a very long time, like seven or 8 years this summer. So I'm a very bad boyfriend because I don't remember the specifics, but so a long time. And as I said, I'm getting up there. I'm going to be 30 soon. She's not much younger than me. and it's kind of time to like get our lives on track, which is why I've really been crunching down on the comic a bit. I'd love to make comics, make this comic for a living, make comics in general for a living. It's a large part of why I love line so much, because it gives artists that opportunity. So hopefully we'll become featured. Keep reading and tell all your friends to also read, so we can get up there and I don't have to be so nervous. But anyways, what's going on is, at this point, I need to begin more aggressively pursuing long-term care for my mom. That is like getting her into a nursing home or whatever, so that I can get on with things, and so that her care is like 100%. And what that means is, when I do find her a place, I'm going to have to, if things with the comic don't pan out in time, I'm going to have to go back to work like a normal person. I will have to spend a lot of time getting her situated. I'm gonna have to clean out the house. There's so much junk here. Parents, they have a tendency of accruing a lot of stuff, and there's so much stuff here. So I'm gonna have to clear all that out. I'm gonna have to figure out my own living situation. Do I move in with Chrissy right away? Do I stay here for a little while? So when that time comes, I just want everybody to be prepared for a very intense change in schedule. Hopefully I can get a good backlog done in time, so that there's still stuff going up regularly while I'm doing all of this. But when the time does come, I'm not skipping out on you guys. I'm just taking care of business. Gotta do what you gotta do. So, yeah, just giving you a heads up. Since this is... It's quite the process, though. So, like, obviously it's not going to be like next week's episode is delayed or something because of all this. But, eventually, just be prepared. Hopefully we'll be doing well by then. I want to get that Patreon page started so that I've got like some sort of income. Hopefully people like the comic and the art enough to help support me. And I want to make it worthwhile for you guys. I want like cool prizes or rewards for the Patreon. I don't want to make it just like blindly handing me $5 to be doing something I can do otherwise, because that seems silly to me. And if I can get it started and we do get it going and it's going well, and I don't have to necessarily go back to work full time, then that's every hour I don't have to spend working for the man. I'm working for you guys. I'm making this comic. We're continuing things, and really, that's the only way it can happen. Hopefully we wind up on the featured page someday, but I'm not so disillusioned that I think it's going to happen overnight. So in the meantime, every little bit counts, and yeah, we'll get to more on the Patreon some other time. For those of you who were avoiding the depressing talk, you can come back now. The rest of us are hanging out. We're talking about donuts and stuff. Not really. Ooh, speaking of donuts, I could really go for one right now. Let's see. I promised you some more pleasant talk, so let's get to more pleasant things. Who I've been talking to a little bit lately is another line webtoon artist. Whoops, sorry everybody. Bear with me for a second. What was I doing? You'll never know. It's a secret. Anyhow, so I've been talking to another line webtoon artist a bit lately, JeyOdin, who found me on Twitter, which none of you guys have done yet, jerks. Just kidding, it's fine. Not everybody likes Twitter, but JeyOdin is the artist, or is the creator of Hammer, which is another comic in the Challenge League. It's so good. I can't even describe how much I love this comic. If you aren't reading it yet, definitely check it out. I don't want to give too much away. The art, but like his art is great. He gets a lot of like really dynamic shots in. His character design is like off the chain, and the story seems to be going in a pretty interesting direction. But I leave that all for you to discover. I don't want to give stuff away. But yeah, check it out. Check out Hammer. It's also online. Even though he's the enemy, no, he's not. We're all in this together. Hopefully, we can all get to that featured list, that great big featured list in the sky. So yeah, been talking to him. His work is really good. I think we're planning on exchanging some fan art, which is pretty cool. I love his style, so I'd love to see his take on any of our characters. And I'm crazy about the main character in his comic, Stud. Really funny kid. Crap. He says crap a lot. I think that's hilarious. So I'll be working on something for that. Just a little heads up. Also, don't let Jay beat you to doing WorldBreakers fan art. Come on, guys. Where are your pictures? Where are your drawings at? If you do any, just leave a link to it in the comments. We'll definitely make sure people see it. You saw in the first break time, we featured Tim Mann's fan art. I'd love to get some more in the next one. So do it, suckers. Put those pencils to work. So yeah, all right. I think we're wrapping up sort of the shading for this chunk. Real quick before I go, how long are we at? Oh dang, almost a half hour. Never mind. We saw shading today. Maybe next week I'll try and start recording towards the end of the shading stage, so you can see what else goes into it, like the lighter shades and stuff like that. But okay, I guess that's it for now. Thanks everybody for hanging out. If you have any questions about the comic that I can answer during these, that would be awesome. You can give me some sort of direction to head in with these discussions, so I don't end up blabbing on about contact lenses the whole time. But yeah, if you got questions, ask them. I'm here. I want to answer. If you have any questions about like the characters, the story, the process, anything, I am here to answer those. Okay, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.